Hey, what's up you guys, it's Connor, and today I'm going to be doing a book review on The Dragon's Blades, The Reborn King by Michael R. Miller. This is a self-published high fantasy novel that I was sent by the author in exchange for an honest review, but obviously that has no impact on my opinion of the book or the opinions that I will state within this video. So this book is about a world where there are different types of humanoid creatures. There are dragons, there are fairies, trolls, humans, demons, and the dragons, humans, and fairies are in an alliance together and they're fighting the demons. And in this world, dragons no longer have their dragon form. They are in human-like bodies. They're bigger and stronger and faster than regular humans, and they live longer, but they look similar to humans. They are pretty much human looking, besides just being extra strong. The alliance of humans, fairies, and dragons is not doing too well against this demon army, and the dragons are actually losing a lot of ground in their kingdom at the very beginning of the book. And you follow Darnuir, who is the prince of the dragons, as he's trying to make a change within his dragon kingdom. So the capital of the dragon kingdom is attacked, and Darnuir is injured in the attack, and so to save his life, a wizard does this spell that reverses his life. It pretty much destroys his life force, I guess, and it turns him back into a baby, and he's left with humans, and so he grows up with humans. The story does this like time hoppy thing, and then it picks up with Darnuir being 20 years old, and he's old enough to inherit what's called the Dragon's Blade, and he becomes the king of the dragons. And so he has to deal with having to accept his responsibilities with the Dragon Kingdom and being a leader within that kingdom and leading the dragons in this continuing fight against the demons with the humans and the fairies. None of that was a spoiler. It was all in this little blurb on the back, but I explained it a little bit more, so don't be worried that I've just given you a bunch of spoilers. Where the novel is mainly about Darnuir, there's actually a couple of other POVs that you follow throughout the world, which I thought was really interesting. So you could get Darnuir's perspective as his weird reborn self and a couple of other perspectives, so you got to see the world in different ways from different races, and so I thought that was really cool, really interesting. I think that that was very important to the story. At first I was not too keen on the POVs, but now that I think about it, it was actually important to kind of show the different opinions that people have on this war that's going on and has been going on for many years. So I think for this review I'm just going to do my old way of reviewing books, where I tell you a bunch of pros and then a bunch of cons, and then kind of give you my star rating and then leave it at that. So my first pro of the story is going to be the world building. I thought this world was so interesting. All the fairies, all the humans, all the dragons, everything has a lot of history to it, and so you learn a little bit of the history as you're going along, but I want more history because I just found it so interesting that I want to continue my knowledge of this world that Miller has set up. I definitely think that the world building's so good and so concrete. I could picture the world in my mind, even though I don't think you have a map. Yeah, you don't have a map, but you can picture where everything is located in relation to one another, and I thought that that was really well done, because a lot of the time I can't picture places in my mind in terms of like maps and locations of cities and stuff, but I had no problem with this. I could picture the forest from where the fairies come from, and I could picture the huge sea in between the humans and the dragons, and I could picture all of the things in this world very well inside of my brain. I thought the time hop within this book was actually handled very well. I was a little bit worried about it because I watched some other reviews of people that had read this book already, and they talk about how it jumps from him being this dragon Darnuir to being reset as a baby, and then kind of starts off as him being this human-ish, human acting Darnuir. And so I was worried that the time hop would be so abrasive that I wouldn't be able to connect with the new Darnuir as much as kind of getting in the head of the old one, and that was actually not a problem at all, because the way that the time hop is handled is that you get little snippets of his life as he's growing up. So it has a little bit of him as a baby, then it has a little bit of him as a toddler, and then a little bit older and a little bit older, and so you get different aspects of his childhood without having to read a whole book about it. It really connected me with Darnuir, and it made me care about him a lot, even though I didn't get a bunch of information from his childhood. We did get the highlights, which I really appreciated, and it was done really well because you experience his childhood, you're not told about his childhood. And I think that that's a big key difference that some people do with time hops, is that some people will just give you a summary of it and be like, oh, he grew up with humans and now he likes humans. Where in this book, you see him growing up with humans and caring about the people around him. And yeah, definitely liked the time hop. I thought that that was really well done. Another positive thing about the book would be that he is able to make me feel for the characters in certain ways without being blatantly telling me how to feel about the characters. For instance, at the beginning of the book, you meet Darnuir as he is before he is turned back into a baby. And the way that I felt about him was exactly the way that the author, I think, wants you to feel about him. You feel frustrated at his inability to take a step back and reanalyze and to relate to the people around him, but you feel for him because he cares so much about his people that he's trying anything and everything to save them. And you feel both frustrated with him because he's being a little bit annoying, but he's also, you know, caring a lot, and so you're wanting him to succeed, if that makes sense. So he just does that with like almost every single character within this story, and I thought that that was really well done. Another pro of the novel is going to be the fact that the wizards in this world, I forgot to say them earlier, but having magic comes at a cost. And so the magic in this world is like poison, and so as you use magic, you're basically poisoning yourself. And I thought that that was a really unique twist on magic and wizards, because the wizards in this world have to use magic sparingly, but they know a noble cause when they see one, and so they will use magic when they need to, but they're not flippantly using magic, and they're not using magic outside of their ability, if that makes sense, because if they use magic outside of their ability, it very much harms them, potentially killing them. So I thought that the magic system was really well done in terms of the wizards. I thought that that was really cool, and the fact that magic is actually killing them was really interesting. And the last pro I'm going to be talking about is the actual writing itself. I'm not a huge person that notices good writing or bad writing unless it is atrocious, but for this, I'm not gonna say that it was good or bad because I'm not a very good judge of like good writing versus bad writing, but I will say that the writing in this book was incredibly compelling. I could not put it down. After 60 pages or so, I was hooked and I read the whole thing like straight away. Would not put it down. I brought it with me even though I knew I wasn't going to be able to read the places that I was going. I still brought it just because I didn't want to let it out of my sight. So I think that that is so good that the book was that compelling that I wanted to know more about the characters and I wanted to know more about the story and the world, and it was just so compelling. It was awesome. Now I'm going to talk about a couple of cons that I had with the book. The first one is going to be that there are a fair number of errors. There are some grammatical errors, and there will be things that are like different words that were supposed to be other things. For instance, it'll say form instead of from, and there aren't almost any in the very, like the first half of the book, and then towards the second half is when I kind of started to notice them. So it wasn't too big of a deal, and I've also read a lot of books that have had way more errors than that. So just going in, just know that there are going to be a couple of errors, but it's not too big of a deal. Another con that I had with the book is going to be the romance of the novel. So Darnuir's main love interest, I thought that it was super unrealistic, and I didn't really like it all that much. It was pretty insta-lovey. It was love at first sight kind of thing, and I was just not feeling it because it didn't really make sense in my brain. There may be something going on that I don't know about in terms of plot and story and magic and stuff, but yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of the romance. And as you guys know, I'm not a big fan of romance in books anyway, and I think that it's kind of hard to be done well for me. So take that with a grain of salt. With those two cons and just kind of my feeling while reading the book overall, I ended up giving this book a 4.25 stars out of 5 stars, which I know is a weird rating, but it was just better than the other 4-star books that I've been reading recently. So 4.25 was gonna be the ticket for this one, I guess. Let me know down in the comments if you're interested in reading The Dragon's Blade, The Reborn King. Also let me know down in the comments your favorite dragon books, because I love dragons, but I haven't read that many books about dragons. So if you have any recommendations, let me know those down in the comments. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.